Now you can see this beautiful transformation in this backyard.
There's our feature. All right, guys, so check it out. We have got an awesome view for this project. If Dominic would get that big piece of plywood out of the way, it would make our view better.
All right, so the shenanigans are already starting. This little pond is totally chlorinated, and I mean, sterile environment, and Marcelino is trying to convince us that he just saved a fish.
Check it out. This is what we have going on here. This is a feature, I believe, that was built in 2005 or 6, somewhere around in that time frame. And over the years, there's been a few modifications made to it. They've never really been totally satisfied with it. And this is something that we deal with quite often in our area. Typical concrete bowl, and then boulders really heavily mortared together in here. At one point, you can see the different stages. We've got rocks totally piled up. So the water comes through here and here, but then you've got all of this camouflaging, later modifications due to leaks and things like that. So what we are gonna do, totally remove this entire feature today. This is what we're gonna come in there with. We've got our Aquascape small stack slate urns, and we're gonna have like 2.5 of those, and one of our spillway bowls, one of those guys, and then some rock work incorporated around, and have a couple natural spills in there. All right, one major obstacle that we have to deal with that we know is here, under this hump right here, is a natural gas line. And that feeds this fire pit right over here. We're gonna be doing some heavy demo today, but gotta be really, really careful that we don't hit the gas line.
Sometimes we get the question of why is it so expensive to demo out my little water feature? Take a look at this.
This is a solid piece of concrete and boulders. And the downside of doing this is it will crack, it will fail. Okay, so what we've got going on this morning, a little bit of hurdles that the guys pulled up to. Irrigation main line was ruptured back here, so totally flooded out our excavation. Not that big of a deal. We've got plenty of dirt to process and move around. It actually makes digging a little easier, especially when we got to be super careful because we've got this gas line running here. So this is just a sleeve to cover the gas line, and you can see right here the actual gas line. We're too deep at this point, and we're going to shade about 4 to 5 inches on top of that line, so it'll still be protected.
Dominic is giving the final excavation just a light tamping to press any small pebbles. We've got some nice soil here, so we've really cleaned it up. It's nice and level, but little tiny pebbles are in there, so we want to press those deeper. And then we're going to put our fabric down, our liner, more fabric, and then start putting the guts in. Okay, so we've got our test fit down. What we wanted to do is make sure that all this is nice and level and none of the aqua blocks have little steps in them. So they look great. Time to start laying fabric.
Okay, so we got a pretty good concept of what we're going to end up doing. So we've got all of the urn pieces at staggered elevations. This is just simulating the elevation that we're gonna do. We're actually gonna cut, there's the piece, the actual bottom for it. So we're gonna cut like 4 inches off of it. That'll bring it down to an inch below the elevation that it's at now. And that way everything is at different elevations, so it'll look really cool.
What really slows down a project is getting a call from one of your guys saying he high-centered your truck while getting the materials. Ugh.
Okay, got all the plumbing done. We're getting the bigger boulders set. We got some of them set today. Lots of plumbing going on in here. We've got our lights set in these urns. We've got all the plumbing ran, minus the plumbing to go back to our rear falls. Tomorrow we should have some pretty good headway set.
All right, so sometimes we've got crazy ideas we're not real sure are gonna work. This is gonna be all Marcelino.
The goal here is to get that big guy swung all the way over in this area right here. You can see how stable our ground is right here we're working with. So this should go well.
Okay, so that's it for us today.
What we've got is our 3 small urns, and then we've got lower half of a small urn. And this urn, we actually cut 4 inches off the bottom of it. And then we've got our spillway bowl, and right in here, that's gonna be like a little waterfall cascade, water pooling area here, and then water will come over that lip right there into the lower level. And then not sure if we'll notch this out and spill out or just have it cascade all around. We'll figure that out when we get closer. But we've got all of our major boulders set, our framers. Not 100% where that one's going yet. We got to start working on our details. We'll have this thing up and running and then out of here next week. Okay, so we are all complete with this remodel. And if you remember before, we had a pile of mortared together and concreted boulders with a concrete bowl and a whole bunch of plumbing issues set up in the back of this. Now look at this. We've got a really clean, simple feature that is just gonna look amazing. There's gonna be some plants get planted, a palm tree. We've got some flags designated for lines that are run. And then a year from now, this is going to be something amazing.